Denise, Mathew, and today I'm going to do a scroll wire wrapped and crystal bead bracelet. Okay, and basically it's just little scrolls, and then we have a wire wrap, and it's kind of a nice little look. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is I'm using about a 22 gauge wire, and it really is whatever fits through your bead, and this one fits through my bead really well, so no problem there. I've already made a few scrolls just ahead of time, and I'm going to show you how to make those. So basically, just like we did, I did another video with scrolls in it as well. It's pretty much the same concept. You want to start with a smaller kind of loop, just a loop in the beginning. Okay, like that. And then I'm just going to roll it a little bit. Now, if you can do a nicer scroll than that, then please do so. As I say, for me, it's still a work in progress. But then you're going to cut it to about 1.5 inches. Okay. Now that it's made, okay, what I'm going to originally start out with is just a plain old wire wrap. Okay. Alright, just do a regular loop, and that's going to be our beginning, and that'll also be where I can attach a hook or some type of clasp, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that as well. So I'm just going to slide that on. Okay, now I'm just going to close that loop. Okay, I'm doing these fairly quick because we've done these kind of loops before. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to start with the next one. Now I have my little scroll that I've made. Now what I'm going to do is do a bit of an angle on this. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I made a little angle at the end. Okay, and that's just so the scroll's a little off center, so it'll look better on the bead. Okay, and I'll do that again to show you. Alright, so now that I have that, I'm going to just attach it to my original loop. Alright, just a closed loop. Okay, and I'm just going to go right around with that a few times. Alright, so now that's our first scroll. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more scrolls just to see, so you can see how to do it. So just a small loop in the beginning like that. Okay, and if it's not small enough, don't make it too small though, because you're going to want to be able to loop your beads together through this loop. Okay, and then you can do this kind of a scroll. A lot of times I'll just use my fingers, and that will do a nice job. And just cut it about 1.5 to 2 inches according to how big your bead is. My beads that I'm using are fairly good size, so I have to cut a little bit longer. Now another way that you can do the scroll, which I find sometimes works okay too, is to continue to wrap it around your pliers, but kind of start to slide it down to the bigger part of the cone, and that actually works a little bit better. And so there you go, like that. Okay, I'll do one more just so you can see, and I'll use bigger pliers. So I'm just going to start with a smaller little loop in the front, like this, okay? And then from that, I'm going to start to wrap it sort of half down my, you see the way I'm going down a little bit like that? Okay, and then once it's like that, you kind of have a little spring-like type of thing. You can take your flat, your chain nose pliers and just squeeze it down, and it will give you a scroll as well. Okay, it's whatever method works for you and which one you prefer. Alright, now I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to do a few more of these beads. Slide it on, and do a wrap loop right through the other scroll, right through, close it up. Now you can get a little fancier with your wraps, bring them down to the other side of your bead, things like that. It's really whatever you feel like doing. I'm just doing it for quick purposes, so you can see the technique. And okay, next one. Now remember, I keep forgetting to show you this, but yes, you do have to do like a bend like that. You don't have to, but it just makes it off center a little bit and makes it show up a little nicer. Okay, there's that. And this is kind of an interesting bead. I'm going to use another one because that was not drilled straight. These are just a mother of pearl bead that look nice with the silver. You can use whatever color wire you want. You can use crystals. I have crystals that I could have used as well. You can use gemstone beads, but again, just check your wire against your beads. And now we're pretty much done. Okay, so now I've got all my scrolls, and my bracelet is as long as I want it to be. And when you're doing your length for your bracelet, you want to make sure that you include that you're going to have a clasp on, and whatever kind of a clasp you want to use. You can use a spring clasp or a toggle clasp, but I'm just going to show you an S-shaped scroll and just a circle. Okay, so basically all I'm going to do is just do another wrap loop, okay, and I'm going to attach it right to that last scroll that I made, and I'm going to leave the other one, see it's just a closed loop on the other side that we started with. We're going to leave that for the other part of the closure, the scroll part that I'm going to make. Okay, so we'll just do a wrap loop, okay, and ideally you want to cut a piece of wire a little bit long and shorter than this. It's a bit too long, so I'm just going to cut it off, slide a bead on, okay, and then we're going to close that up, but before we close it, we're going to put a closed loop, closed circle, okay, and you would prefer a closed circle because it would give you more stability for your bracelet, so it won't come away. Alright, so give it a nice wrap, and you can even, you know, wrap a little bit more around the top, make it a little bit more finished looking like that if you want. I have other techniques that in the wire wrapped beads and stones part 2, where you come right down across the bead, so if you're interested in that, you can check it out. And now for the other side, we're just going to do a plain S-shaped scroll, and that's usually only about, oh, I don't know, I'll show you. I would say probably about 1.5 to 2 inches of wire, probably 1.5 inches. So when you're doing an S-shaped scroll, you're just going to do a loop on the top, okay, just a plain loop like that, okay, and then basically you're going to make it just like I said, a S. So we're going to do the top loop like that, bring it up, okay, and you can reshape this because we haven't hardened it yet, okay, and cut it, and you can make it bigger or smaller, and you can use a heavier gauge of wire too if you want something a little more sturdy, but I'm just using the same 22 gauge for this because the bracelet isn't that heavy. Okay, so now it's a little bit misshapen, so I'm just going to make it a little more of an S, which we have. Okay, and of course after we hammer it a little bit, I'm going to hammer it to the center of it. I'm going to avoid the loops on the ends, just going to hammer the center, and that's just kind of to give it a different texture. It's for looks more than practicality. And when I'm hammering it, I am actually hardening it at the same time. Okay, so there you have, I'm just going to make it a little bit. Okay, and I'm just reshaping it a bit so it's exactly the way I want it. Okay, so it looks something like that. Flatten it again, texture, ball peen for texturing, and that's to flatten. And you'll notice it's much harder now, which stiffer is what you want. Now all I have to do is slide that on here and have a closure for my bracelet. And that completes the bracelet. And that completes the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share if you think it's worth sharing. Subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and comment on any ideas that you have for me to do other videos. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye.